Hello and welcome to episode 34 of Missed Mando, Ontario's source for the latest in the disc golf world. I'm your host, Sean Galbraith, joined by my friend and co-host, Galen Naidu-Harris, making his triumphant return to the show. Galen, how are you, and what have you been up to since our last visit from you?
I have to say, Sean, a little disappointed we didn't get the whole hello and welcome to another episode of Miss Mando, Robbie style. But I was impressed that nothing gets past you because our show notes say, welcome to episode 44 of Miss Mando, and it is not episode 44, it's episode 34. Caught that. It also says, I'm your host, Robbie Holden, joined by my friends and co-host Sean and Galen, and you are not Robbie, and in fact, you are Sean. Robbie is not here, so nailed it. I have been up to a lot, man. Most important thing for me, and the reason I wasn't around, and the last thing I'm going to do is to talk about politics on this show. That sounds like a terrible idea. But folks that know me outside of disc golf may know that I work for an MP, and so the last 4 or 5 weeks have been spent fighting to get to keep my job, trying to get that MP reelected, and I did that. So with a baby on the way, I'm very excited to have job security. I haven't been playing a ton of disc golf since the last episode. I know you guys talked about this ages ago, but the only tournament that I've played since last I was on a show was I always get the King's Forest Open and Golden Horseshoe doubles confused. I think King Forest Open is the one that we just had a couple weeks back, the singles tournament. That went really well for me. I think it was either my highest or second highest tournament average ever. I was just 1 stroke off of qualifying for provincials, which I have kicked myself about a few times since the show. But that was a great tournament. I always have a blast playing that. Was even in the lead in MA2 for a little bit. Ultimately finished in 5th. But what for me I thought were some very solid round ratings. A 923 in the first round, a 946 in the second. 5th place. I am never going to be upset at that. Couple point bump in the rating update. So I think I'm now either at my highest or second highest rating that I have had. So I that's nice. I don't know. I don't think about it much when it's bad, and then when it's good, I'm like, hey, this is great. Which probably isn't the healthiest way of doing it, but what are you gonna do? And the other big thing for me is that I have I'm going to reach off screen to grab something, a disc sponsor now. I am an ambassador for Gateway for 2025. So I'm really excited. I've been throwing a lot of their plastic just out in fields and practice rounds. Loving the Realm, their, sort of destroyer-ish disc. I'm getting that out to, in the 350, 400 range, which is a lot for me. Loving the Warlock in the eraser plastic. So I'm learning some new stuff. I'm like a team sports guy as far as my background, like rugby, hockey. So anytime I'm like part of a team, that's very cool to me. So, yeah, that's your big information dump. Oh, and then I got 2 tournaments coming up. I got this weekend. I'm going to be heading up to Montreal for the Circuit du Disque Québec at a parcours just outside of Montreal, whose name I'm trying to find, at the parcours at Saint Bernard de la Colle, just outside of Montreal. So I've never played a tournament outside of Ontario, so that's exciting. And then the weekend after is Black Fly Fling. So that's been a lot of talking, but I haven't been here for a while to do any talking. So I'll shut up now, but I'm not going to apologize for talking for 2 minutes because I miss the podcast. I miss these people. I miss our listener. Sean, it has been less time since you have given everybody an update, but what is new and interesting in your life since the last time you and Robbie recorded?
Love having you back on the show and hearing that you're getting back into a few more tournaments before. That's not going to happen for a while for you. I spent this weekend out at Christie Lake playing in the Spring Fling. We will have some talk about that a little bit later on in the show. But man, it was a blast. I love the Spring Fling because it's the 27 extended hole layout, 2 rounds of it over 2 days. The weather was mostly cooperative. We had a little bit of rain and a little bit of wind on day 2, but man, the extended extra 9 holes that were added to the course along the water's edge in that area were absolutely a blast to play. Kudos to Chris Azolins for designing them. They were very different from past years, and it was great. The tournament was really well run. Everything was smooth and everyone seemed to have a really great time. And before we get to talking about all of that, we're going to go now to our first feature interview of the show, and we'll be right back on Miss Mando.
Our next guest joined the PDGA back in October of 2018 and has steadily increased her rating each and every year, reaching a new high watermark of 951 this past ratings update and making her one of the top rated female players on tour. So far this year, she has a top 10 finish at Waco and the KCWO and is now coming off a great 10th place finish at Champions Cup, the best finish at a major and highest round rating in her career at a 1028. It is a pleasure to welcome to the Miss Mando podcast from Spokane, Washington, Hanna Huynh. Hanna, thanks for being here with us.
Thanks so much for having me.
As we like to do with all of our first-time guests, let's take it back to the beginning. You first became a PDGA member in 2018 and promptly dove directly into the deep end, finishing second in a crowded FA1 field at the Farragut Open and following it up with a second place in FPO at, and I promise our listeners I am not making this up, the Birdies for Boobies event in Washington. What can you tell us about those first sanctioned events and how you got started playing disc golf in general? Who introduced you to the sport?
So my mom was dating a guy who played disc golf, and she invited me to come out during school hours in high school. I was a senior, and I went out and played disc golf on lunch one time, and then just got hooked. And so I would do it like weekly. Um, I somehow still graduated high school, but I didn't. I started playing in 2014, and I didn't start playing until I started playing in the ladies' league in Spokane around 2018, 2019, and they kind of pushed me into wanting to play tournament.
I love that. I thought this was going to be like a senior skip day type situation early on in that. I feel like we all sort of get introduced to it just like by a friend or an acquaintance or something. And then for those of us that get hooked, they just get hooked right away. I know that was me.
Yeah.
What were those first courses that you played like? Were they local sort of pitch and putts or these like deep woods, Washington kind of tough courses?
It was not pitch and putt. The first course I played, it was called Downwater. Now it's called Whitewater because they had a remodel. But it was, 300, 350-foot drives, and it was par threes, par fives, maybe par fours, sorry, maybe a par five. So it was pretty long and wooded, and that's where I started playing and started to learn disc golf pretty much.
Trial by fire. Did you find that helped a fair bit, or did you get a little discouraged at times when it was tough to hit those tight lines and make those long bombs?
Man, I didn't really care at the time. Like in 2014 to like 2020, I didn't care. I didn't care to play tournaments. I just knew that I really like to throw hard and like play with my friends and just like go out and enjoy, the summer days with my friends. And so I didn't really care. It was all about having fun. And then I met the Spokane Ladies League Club, and that's what pushed me. And that only took a year pretty much. I started playing some of the leagues and I was like, ooh, I like the competition. And then I started playing some local tournaments. And then I went on tour right after that. So yeah. Yeah.
And is disc golf the first sport that you've played competitively at a high level, or do you have experience competing in other sports that sort of drove you to get hooked on the competition as well?
Growing up, I have always loved to play sports, but I was not in school. I just liked to play with like the neighborhood kids. We would play like flag football or tackle football, uh, basketball, like anything, kids would do. And I loved that. But I never played sports in high school until I found disc golf.
You officially joined the Pro Tour in 2022, I believe, when you played like 20 elite and silver events. When did you first start thinking, hey, I could kind of make this a career? And how was that transition from, maybe more of a local pro to a touring pro?
I've always, when I started playing tournaments. I was like, ooh, this is really cool. Maybe I can get better. And so that's when I really did start to practice going to the fields and throwing and putting. And I I had some friends like, hey, you could be like maybe top 30 or 50 in the world. And so like I got that support. And then so when I went on tour, I was actually discouraged because I never cashed like my first year. And so it was just really tough. But sorry, that's a really loud bird. But but I knew
Oh,
I
I
could
actually
be a
thought that was a car alarm for a second.
gosh. But I saw it being a career maybe 2 years ago because like I said, it was really hard at first to cash on tour. There's so many good women and so I just had to practice a lot and play a lot and learn in a short amount of time. And I think starting now, like last year, I think this could be a career for me because I really needed help from Crystal. So it wasn't just me, it was mainly Chris who helped support me on the road.
How long had Chris been on the tour at that point?
Good question. Maybe 2 or 3 years or something like that, I think.
So he'd worked out a lot of the how to tour issues.
Yeah, he just pretty much asked if I wanted to go on the road with him, and I said yes. I took
One
that
of the
leap.
one of the questions that we ask younger players, like when we had Eliezer on or Luke Taylor or some of those players, like what were some of the surprises when you first went out on tour or things you had to learn about being on tour that was different or different than maybe you expected?
Hmm. Oh, I remember like thinking, oh my gosh, you just go play a new course every weekend? That sounds awesome. Like you just get to throw frisbees. Like you are living the life. It is a grind out here. Let me tell you, I am tired all the time. Like
It's
you're
work.
constant. It is work. Like Monday, okay, Monday you might get an off day if you want. Like today, I needed it. But like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you are playing a course and you're like mentally thinking about like how you're gonna attack it and you're throwing multiple shots, like your body, you're just physically wearing yourself out. And then you have to prepare for that weekend to compete. And then you do it all over again the next week. It is crazy work. But yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was like all luxurious and stuff. But here I am, freaking it's
Yeah,
hard.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's a
and
lot of driving and new
Yeah,
cities. I mean, it's exciting, I'm sure. But yeah, like it is a job and it is work.
totally. Yeah. But I love my life and I cannot see myself
I know
going
that.
back to a normal job.
Oh, I think we lost her. Awesome. And you and Bo Chris Clemens have got to be one of the best disc golfing power couples out there. I think based on some of what I've seen or heard that you're living the van life. What can you tell us about tour life with a partner, especially one that had been on tour for a while before you got together? How do you and Chris work together to plan your schedules, travel plans? Is it life is just entirely dictated by the demands of the tour, or do you sort of work regular life stuff in there as well through the season?
Yeah, it's I mean, it's great. Me and Chris we're like really good friends, right? Like we you sometimes annoy each other, but like when you're with someone 24/7, like that's normal. But we know each other very well. Like I am a morning person, he is a night person. So in the morning, when I get up out of bed, I have to go and do something and let him sleep for like another 2 hours so I don't have to wake him up. And then at nighttime, I'm in bed by like 8:39 and he gets to like, do whatever he wants and stuff. But oh my gosh, what was the question? Tour life with a partner? Yeah, it's
Yeah,
great. Um,
exactly.
but I think we work really well together. I think we figured each other out at first. No, at first it was good too. So I don't know. um, he's just so like chill, and I'm also not very chill. I think we balance each other out. So yeah, I don't know.
It sounds pretty ideal.
Yeah. But we do half the driving. I drive in the morning and then he drives at night. If we need to stop somewhere for lunch, we like the same thing. And so we just, we find the best rating on Google, find the best reviews, and then we go there. We like the same things, and so doing life with him is easy.
Let's get back into playing. So I undoubtedly have heard of the controversy from Champions Cup and foot faulting. But let's go back to Music City Open, where you had an amazing 360-degree spin. I think it was in the mud on a shot where it was a little bit of a slip. I think we saw that on Jomez. It was, first of all, outstanding form, pirouette technique. So question one, was that actually a foot? And I'm going to drop the video in somewhere in here when I edit this, because it's really an excellent technique. Was it actually a foot fault? And two, do you have any tips for fair weather golfers who find themselves stuck golfing in the rain and mud? Because that was some rough conditions you had.
So that was the Hideaway. The course is called the Hideaway. It was a Go Throw tournament. It was
that was Go Throw.
Yes. MDG Media, I think it was. Man, I'm so sorry. I don't remember who it was, but I know what video you're talking about. You know what? I did the run up knowing that I was gonna slip, and because I just wanted to try and get a birdie. But the Go Throw tournaments, they're not rated. They're unsanctioned. You can do pretty much whatever you want. Like, there's no rules. So I was just like, I'm gonna run up. Why not? But I think maybe it was a football because, yeah, I just did it. I've got a couple messages saying that it was like in the rule book, you did this without this doing this and blah, blah, blah. I got all that. So I'm pretty sure it was a football. And I don't.
But who cares?
No one called me on it. No one called me. But it was really muddy. Like, I've never played in mud like that. Like, when you start the tournament, you're like your normal weight. But then when you end it, you've like gained like 15 pounds just by your feet alone. Like, it's just like clay. But I would say umbrella. If you have a caddy, make that person carry an umbrella too, so you have two umbrellas. And then a lot of towels, preferably like 10. And then standstills. And yeah, that's about it. And just enjoy it. You're out there, like, just enjoy it.
You can't change the weather, so you might as well enjoy it.
Yeah.
This was that event between Supreme Flight Open and Texas. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, I heard the weather was just like the worst that has ever occurred in disc golf, basically.
And it sucks because that course is so much fun to play and so much fun. Yeah, and the person's property was just ripped up because all the cars were just getting stuck in the parking lot, and it was like mud bogs out there.
I used to work at a local apple orchard near where I live, and this is like grade 8, grade 9, like 13 or 14, first job ever, was just like a parking attendant out in this mud lot, and I still have flashbacks of when it would rain and get muddy. Just PTSD flashbacks of pushing like 30 or 40 cars a day with my other 13-year-old friends. So I can only imagine that must have been a grind. And also, that's a mea culpa for me. I don't know why I assume that was a Music City Open. I think maybe just because of when you posted it. I don't know if you can tell. We don't have the budget here for like a research intern. So that was just me scrolling through your Facebook feed. And I was like, oh my God, this is hilarious. And not paying close enough attention to where it was posted from. So mea culpa. Let us switch gears, though, to Champions Cup this past weekend. You came out of the gate hot. You shot an amazing 1028 rated -9 that had you in second place. Another great round in round 2 with only a little bit of trouble on the always difficult hole 18. So first of all, congratulations on that amazing 10th place finish. Curious how you liked the event, the change this year to 2 different layouts over the 4 rounds. It seemed like the changes made rounds 3 and 4 were a little more difficult, but what was your impression?
I love Swenson Park. It is just so pretty, especially when it's just like sunny all the time and like it's just so lush and just I just love it. I don't know, I just love it. But the first year, some guy, okay, so after my first round or my second round, yeah, after my second round, some guy comes up to me and he's like, "Do you remember me?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "I kept score for your card the first year you're ever here, and you were on the very last card." And I was like, "Oh my gosh." And then he's like, "But look at you now. You're on lead card at a major here." And yeah, I looked back. I was like, the first year I played OTB at Swenson, I was 41st. And then the year after that, I was 19th. And then last year, I got 9th. So I just really like that course, I think. I think I just grew to like it and it just it played well to my game because I feel like you didn't need like bomber shots. You kind of just like needed to accurately put your disc somewhere. And yeah, I don't know. It's just it felt really good. The course suited my game really well. I feel like there was another question. Was there another
The
question?
changes between for the changes to the
Oh
course
yeah.
rounds 3 and 4, was it a little tougher?
Oh yeah, because it came with wind. Like the wind was like 20 miles per hour. And like when you're doing like water carries on like 3 or 4 of the holes, it is tough. So I found a lot of OB. A lot of OB. On the third day, my putting was terrible. I was missing right, and I hated that. And then the final day, more OB, but I made my putts. So, whatever. But the layouts were hard because, yeah, they were just a little tougher. But I think it was good because it was for a major, you know. So you needed some challenge.
You didn't get anything except a birdie or par between round 1, hole 2 and round 2, hole 18, an amazing 33 straight holes, half of which were birdies. This stretch tied what Kristen did and surpassed what the rest of the lead cards did. Did you know at the time that you were on an absolute hater shredding it? Are you like a scorecard watcher keeping track of where you are in the field? Or afterwards you're like, holy wow.
I don't really check the scores. But I did know I was playing well because a camera showed up on hole 13, and I think I was like 5 or 6 birdies in, and I was like, oh yeah, this is it. And yeah, I knew it.
When the camera shows up, that is usually a pretty good sign that something is going very right. You've been on a number of you've been on a number of cards where the camera has been there filming you and you've been on coverage. How do you find it playing with the cameras there? Are they just sort of in the background, you kind of ignore them, um or do you find that it changes your game?
I didn't really care this weekend. I, I didn't mind that they were there, and at first when I was on coverage, it did bother me. I was like, oh my gosh, everyone's looking at me. But now I don't care. Like, feels comfortable.
I dig it. Speaking of feeling comfortable, I hope that you also now feel a little more comfortable having been on tour for a few years, played most of the events before. So, looking ahead to the rest of 2025, curious which events you're most excited for and you think suit your game or suit your game well. You'd be excited for an event just because of the venue and also play well at it, or you could be excited to play well and be like, I hate this course. Anyway, I see you're going to Europe. That's got to be high on the excitement list. Are we right that we haven't seen you playing events over there before? That's a lot of stuff to throw at you, but what are you excited about through the rest of 2025?
I'm excited for everything because I feel like my game has definitely evolved, and I just am really excited to see what my skills can do this year. So, um, every year it's redemption from the last year, and I don't know, I'm really excited. I love being on the West Coast, just because I love playing venues that are beautiful. Like, it just makes my soul so happy being there and playing there. Like Portland Open, I love being there, the big, tall trees. And we get to play at Shelton Springs in Washington this year, which is my home state. And Washington's also very beautiful. And hmm, excited for Europe. Never been to Europe, so like that's just wild to me. And yeah, I think I'm just excited for everything.
I'm curious, have you ever played any disc golf on the West Coast in Canada? Because the first course I ever played at, despite being very east in Canada, in the greater Toronto area, is a little course called Cooper's Hawk in BC on Vancouver Island. And that was kind of what hooked me too. I mean, I really enjoyed the sport, but I was like, wow, what a beautiful place that I get to like hang out with my friends and do this cool thing. Ever been up to Canada for any rounds on the West Coast as well?
I have never been to Canada, but I would love to because that also sounds beautiful. Disc golfing on an island? Come on, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, highly recommended. I don't know if and when you would ever get the opportunity, but if you do, I would highly, highly recommend it.
It's on my list.
So I think you joined Discraft at the start of the 2024 season. How have you enjoyed working with them so far?
It's been really good. It's really awesome that my manager, Bob Julio, is like a metalhead. So like we can talk music and stuff and like I don't know, they're just super chill and they have the best discs. If I need anything, they're always there to help me quickly. Like, I don't know, it's refreshing. I get to throw discs that say Whitechapel on it. There's Slipknot discs, Cannibal Corpse discs. It's just crazy, man.
That's awesome. Can we maybe
So I
do
love it.
like a little mini in the bag? What are some staples that you have in your bag from Discraft that you would refuse to leave home without?
Yeah, dude. Okay. So I really like the cicada, the ESP cicada, for just like those straight shots or hyzer flip shots, or like a slow turning right shot. And I really like the Vortex because I like to do anhyzer shots. Those are really fun, like hyzer flip and anhyzer through wooded courses. So I've used the Vortex a lot. The Quake is my go-to, like overstable mid-range. Is so good. Oh, and the Meteor. I got an ace with the Meteor. I just love hyzer flip stuff. So like little flippy. But and then my main drivers are the Thrashers. Uh, ooh, and the Captain's Thrasher. I'm really driving with that one. I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, and the Heat. The Heat has like endless glide. So I just like throw it, not a lot of power, like 70% power, and that thing just goes like 400 feet. I don't know. Those are good discs. And then I go the zone and I put with the rip.
Yeah, I dig that.
Awesome.
I feel like the Meteor also was super glidey for me when I had it in the bag. I think of the Meteor and the Heat sort of first when I think of like Discraft discs that are not currently in my bag that I'm like, oh, should I put that back in? Because those were awesome when I was bagging them.
Yeah, totally. Heck yeah.
Do you, do you have a
You guys
Tour
are.
Series disc this year?
No,
Well,
I I give fundraisers.
Mm-hmm.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
And
It's cool.
I'm getting, yeah, sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
no, no. You were focused on answering Sean's question. I was just like, I haven't been asked a question by a guest that I can recall, so I would like to actually answer it. I just,
Oh, okay, yeah.
this is so special. No, I just got on the Gateway Ambassador team. So I was just saying earlier on this episode with Sean that I'm throwing a bunch of new discs that I'd never thrown before. But like the Gateway Realm is sort of their destroyer clone. I'm really enjoying the Warlock as a putting putter. And I also throw a lot of Thought Space. I love use of Thought Space. So Coalesce, an Omen, Pathies. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, I got some stuff that I love. Sean, how about you? What do you throw? I know you don't throw it well, but when you throw discs, what
No.
are they?
Whatever I throw, it's going into the nearest tree or lake, so it doesn't actually matter. Except my putters, those don't go into tree or lakes. They also don't go in the basket. So, MA3 for life. Let's go.
I also see that you have joined Squatch's ambassador team this season. Robbie and I are also big Squatch fans, both rock the Legend 2.0. So what is your typical Squatch bag setup, color combo, and how have you enjoyed working with them?
Pretty good. I reached out this season because I really like the look of their bags. And I'm happy that he brought me onto the ambassador team. He sent me the lore and a legendary. Right now, I'm carrying the black and red legendary because it looks really cool. I like the color schemes. I really love the phone pouch. I just think that's such a cool little accessory, and I like to put a bunch of like pins and patches on my bag to make it look all cute. And yeah, Squatch is awesome. They make really cool bags.
Yeah, I was like, oh, big bag looks cool. People like it. I'm going to buy it. But the two things for me are the cooler and the phone little pouch that the phone, whatever I don't even know what to call that pocket. That I like did not realize how much those two features I would be so grateful. Like in the summer, I don't know, this might be like a crazy thing, but I occasionally like to have like a cold beer when I'm playing disc golf. Having the cooler pouch and being able to put a beer in there and have it still be cold in like an hour and a half is unreal. And just not being like, oh my God, I have to unzip it. Where's my phone? Oh crap, it fell down. It's lower. Oh, it's underneath. They're just like reaching in, flipping and grabbing it. Clutch.
Yeah.
Game changer. Yeah.
Great.
Now, Hannah, we have taken up plenty of your time for this evening, but before we let you go, we would just love to hit you with a few lightning round questions that we ask all of our new guests. Just, basic questions, quick answers, whatever's the first thing that comes to your mind. So if you're good with that, we'll rock into that. And the first question we have is, what is your favorite course?
Caliber in Sandpoint, Idaho.
Don't know that one. Have to add that to the list. What is the hardest?
Look it up on your disc. Sorry.
Okay. What is the
I'll be
hardest
doing
course
that.
you've ever played?
Where it is. This is fast. Hardest. Hardest. Ah. Blue Mountain in Montana. Yeah.
Love it.
Okay.
One sport to play or watch that is not disc golf. What is that sport?
Golf. I want to play golf.
Do you currently play golf, or is this more aspirational that you would like to play golf?
Aspirational.
Next question. What song makes you instantly turn up the volume to max and sing your heart out? Or your go-to karaoke song?
I love music. Like any song. And like, okay, gosh. Karaoke song? None. I can't sing, and I will never, ever, ever. But
Hey, me
a
neither.
song that makes me turn it up. Uh, hmm. Anything like classic 90s, like Led Zeppelin, Eagles, Pink Floyd, turn that shit up.
Oh, hell yeah. Fantastic answer. Also, especially Led Zeppelin, big fan. Okay. What is your favorite place to stop for food on a road trip?
Mm. Tropical smoothie,
I thought you were just going to
if
say,
they have it.
to stop on Google with Chris to find the highest rated local place and then go
Which,
there, which is actually, I
which
really
we
love
do.
that as a strategy. Yeah, like you get to try cool
Yeah.
places and like not just go back to the same one every time. I dig it.
Yeah.
What movie never gets old no matter how many times you watch it?
Secret Life of Pets.
Excellent choice.
Phenomenal. And last but certainly not least in the lightning round, if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Invisibility.
That is an awesome, awesome choice. Well,
I'm just
before we
shy.
let you, just not interesting reversal on that. You just want to disappear, not actually really like use the power for
Yeah, not even, like
nefarious
creep
reasons.
around, just like if there's an awkward conversation, just like literally fade into the background. Oh, I love it.
Yes. Oh my God, yes.
I
All
think
right.
you and
So
my wife would share that superpower because she also has moments where she would love to just disappear.
that's
I
awesome.
think that might be the best answer to that question that anybody has ever given, and I absolutely thank you for that.
Yes. Okay.
100% with you.
You're welcome.
All right, Sean, why don't you bring it home for us here?
So, Hannah, we cannot thank you enough for joining us tonight, suffering through us and all of the technical glitches that we've had. So before we let you go, we wanted to give you the floor. Do you have any shout outs that you would like to give, any sponsor acknowledgements or anything like that? Turn it over to you. Hit it.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me on, guys. I had a lot of fun talking with you. And shout out to my sponsors, Discraft, Dark Ace, Local on Apparel, Dr. Christie Dyes, and Squatch. And yeah, this was so much fun. Thank you for having me. Oh, give me a follow if you're not following me at alwayswinning_ on Instagram, or just find me on Facebook at Hanna Huynh.
If you're not following Hannah, what are you doing? You are not using social media correctly. Immediately rectify that error and get following her ASAP. The pleasure was all ours, Hannah. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it, and we will be right back on Miss Mando. And welcome back to Miss Mando. Fantastic to have Hanna Huynh on the show. Super cool interview. Sean, let's go over to you for some Ontario news next.
Thank you, Galen. That was a blast talking to our wonderful guest. And just a small little bit of Ontario news / personal news. I have joined the board of the ODSA, soon to be the Ontario Disc Golf Association. Not really sure entirely what I'm going to be doing there, but I'm happy to help out and see where I can contribute and give back a little bit to the sport that I love so much. But on to registrations. We only have 2 this week. First, the Chain Link Conservation Series at Albion is coming back for a 1-day, 2-round event taking place on July 19th. Early bird registration starts on May 9th, and general registration starts a week later on May 18th or May 16th. That would be somewhere around there. A week later. Check out Disc Golf Scene, of course, to get all the registration details. And they're adding this year a fun glowy round on the 9-hole birdie course that night. I think it's the first glowy round to be played on that little course. Looks super fun. I love that course. It's great. I just use one disc, usually like a pyro, and it is a blast. Have you had a chance to play it yet, Galen?
I have. I'll just very quickly confirm it is May 16th for general registration, so 1 week later.
Thank you.
I have not played the birdie course. I have played the main
Albatross.
course. The Albatross. Yeah, that was a blast. Jeff and Kara always put together a fantastic course. I was out there with a buddy just once last summer, but it's a little bit sort of out of my neck of the woods, my regular sphere of disc golf as far as geography is concerned, but I always have a little hankering to like get back out there anytime I'm driving through or if I have some time on the weekend. So I think that speaks to how much I friggin' love that course. So yeah, if you have the opportunity, definitely register. It's a great course, and Jeff and Kara not only put together a great course, but put on a great show. So you'll have a blast.
Absolutely. The second event that is opening for registration this weekend, by the time this show drops, it'll actually already be open yesterday. So hopefully you've already signed up, is Queer Disc Golf's Summer Stomp. Is coming to Niagara on the Lakes course on July 12th. This one's going to be special. It is going to be on an expanded course of 13 holes. There's going to be one round of singles and one round of best shot random doubles. And to make this even more special, it's a fundraiser for PFLAG and Positive Living. And wait, Sean, you're thinking that's enough, Sean, please, that's enough. No, that is not enough. But wait, there's more. Players are going to get, as part of their players pack, for the first 50 players, you're getting a free disc from Discape in a never before released mold. As I understand it, it's a little understable, maybe flippy. I love myself, my flippy discs, so I'm excited. It's going to have a custom stamp designed by Judge Havoc, the one and only. He's doing all the amazing stamps for the Queer Disc Golf series, featuring the little Skelly Boy doing Skelly Boy things. In this case, Skelly Boy is getting chewed out by a mermaid because he's eating sushi. That ain't great. But the disc looks amazing. The stamp looks amazing. And this, you're saying, Sean, this is clearly going to be an expensive tournament because you're getting so much and it's a great card. No, it is only $30. The thing is going to sell out so fast that by the time this episode drops, it might already be sold out. So make sure you are already signed up by now, because it's going to be absolutely amazing. Amazing. That is it for the next couple of weeks. We are still in the thick of the beginning of tournament season, but there's a bunch out there that haven't quite dropped their registration dates, or the registrations like June, July, August, next couple months. That's fine. You're going to make sure you're subscribed to this show, because you're definitely going to hear about them here on Miss Mando. We're going to keep bringing them all to you. And that is it for registration. So there's a couple little pieces of general disc golf news that we wanted to cover. First, the PDGA put out an article called "The Case for Cupcake," talking about Jacob Curtis and anxiety in disc golf and sort of getting the yips and putting. And this sort of, I don't know if they were working on this for a while, but it's possible that this sort of got fast-tracked to be published on the PDGA's website because of a video that Drew Curtis, disc golf troll Drew Curtis, Drew, did I get his last name? Drew.
Jacob Curtis? Or are we talking Drew?
Drew Gibson. Drew Gibson.
Yeah, I was like, are we talking Drew Gibson? Yeah.
Sorry, I got my names mixed up. Drew Gibson, the disc golf troll, posted on his Instagram channel of Jacob Cupcake putting at Champions Cup, taking a very healthy amount of time to putt, well over 30 seconds. It is painful to watch. It causes significant slowdowns, and nobody likes it, including especially Jacob. And the article I thought was really, really interesting and insightful. Includes interview with Cupcake a little bit, talking about the struggles that he's going through putting and with anxiety and sort of the stress of the Pro Tour. And I think it's a lot in there that people can relate to, especially, if you get nervous when you're getting putting. It's definitely not just you. And I thought it was very interesting to see his side of the story, and how he's trying to work through it. So far, not entirely successfully, but it's great to see that he acknowledges his issue and is still working on it. Dale, did you have a chance to read that thing?
Yeah, I really enjoy anytime you see a professional athlete sort of cast light, I guess, maybe onto some mental health challenges. And I don't know that quite is the best way to describe the yips, but, he also talks about anxiety and a sort of interrelation there. And some of the physical symptoms he describes certainly sound like they would fall into that bucket. So whether it's, a pro athlete, like, I don't know, I'm just going to say Patrick Laine as an example, a Montreal Canadian who stepped away from the sport, and many have at times over the past couple of years to address something that is causing challenges for them on and off of the ice or court or course, whatever the case may be. So I always love seeing a pro be comfortable humanizing mental health and challenges that come as a result of mental struggles affecting their life on the course, affecting their regular life. And I didn't see the Drew Gibson video. I gotta be honest, so I don't know what the tone was, but sounds like maybe there's a bit of an inherent jab there of like, geez, this guy's taking forever. And I think it's cool that the Cupcake came back to be like, okay, this is like actually a problem for me. Could you not? But in a very professional way and articulated really nicely by the author. So yeah, I leafed through it earlier and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was well timed and an interesting read for sure.
I'll include that in the show notes. The other little piece of disc golf news is Estonia has been awarded the 2029 World Championships. I think they're going to host the European Major in 2026 and 2028 and an Elite Series in 2027. Interesting that nobody knew that they were bidding on it, and this has caused a little bit of a kerfuffle. So I think it was Des Moines. Des Moines was hoping to bid on 2029 as the 25th anniversary of the last time that they held it, and they were a little upset that that it was just awarded to Estonia. It'll be interesting to see how they pull it off. I know the government is going to pour a whole bunch of money into it and make sure that it's a big proper show and all that. I'm curious to see what courses they come up with, because frankly, the one that they had last year at the European Disc Golf Festival was not pro tour caliber. I'd say it looked a little too easy for the pro tour. So I don't know. We'll see what they bring out this year, and we'll see what they bring out over the next few years. And I don't know, maybe take a trip, get a media badge, and take a trip over to Estonia in 2029 for Worlds.
Let's get Sean Galbraith, on-course correspondent, back in action. Yeah, that's something else that I'm curious about. I don't know what the typical process is for how bids are accepted for Worlds. Sean, maybe you can even shed some light for me, and perhaps not. But I wonder, is this a process that is typically more closed and so that part is unsurprising, or is it typically more open and there's been like a deviation? That's the big operative variable for me. So this is different than so then I understand why they would be upset about that, thinking that they would have the opportunity to bid, and then all of a sudden it's like, nope, going to somebody else.
Yeah, normally the PDGA says we're accepting bids up until a certain date. You can make your submissions, and then they go off and do whatever they do and award it to Nate Heinold anyway. This case, they're just like, nope, we're not even going to bother with that. It's just going straight to Estonia. They haven't even announced 2028 yet. So they're just skipping a whole year. I don't know what's going on there, but I don't know. I mean, it's not that they can't put on a great show. It's just odd that they just like a single source for Worlds as opposed to putting it out to a competitive bid and see who may have had an even better offer. I don't know.
Yeah, no, and I guess my mind then goes to, they must have been made an offer that I guess they felt they couldn't refuse, and I'm curious what it was, if it was, financial, if it was a way that they're planning on bringing more eyes or more resources to the sport, and anyway, I am curious how this unfolds, because, this is still 4 years away. There's a lot of this story that's still unwritten, so I'll be paying attention. And now on to some Ontario tournament recaps. My favorite part of the show, talking about local disc golf. And our first event this show was the Muskoka Open. That first event we're going to talk about today took us to beautiful Muskoka and the amazing Wolf Tracks course. My favorite course, I would have to say, that I have played, period, at Bondi Village Resort, which brought together 89 players across 13 divisions who made the trip north of the GTA for 3 rounds of 22 holes at this B-tier event. The FPO division was a 2-player battle between 2 friends of the pod. The missed Mando bump is real. Alicia Hums and Alex Paletto, and saw Alex holding a 3-stroke lead after the first round and a 5-stroke lead after the second round. But the story completely changed in the final round as Alicia went -2 in the first 10 holes while Alex put up a respectable +3, but that brought us back to a tie. And then Alex struggled down the stretch, going +2 in her last 12 holes, while Alicia was able to stay clean and go -2 in the same stretch to pull off the come-from-behind win, her second of the season. Alicia's come-from-behind final round was rated 978, just absolutely scorching and the second highest of her career. Over an MPO, Calvin Rorda had a 3-stroke lead over Thomas Gilbert and 5 strokes over Chris Toe after both rounds 1 and 2, but the final round turned into a 2-player battle as Chris wasn't able to collect birdies at the same rate as Calvin and Thomas to fall off the pace, but would hold on to solo third. Meanwhile, Calvin bounced some early bogeys with an eagle and 3 birdies to sit at -2 through 10 holes, while Thomas had a stretch of 7 straight birdies with no bogeys through 10 to take a 2-stroke lead. Back-to-back bogeys from Thomas tied things up again, but matched Calvin on every other hole to send things to a playoff where Thomas hit a birdie putt for the win, his first of the season. In the only other pro division in the field, it was a fun battle for second place as each round saw someone new in that spot, with Brian Grant going from 4th to 2nd in the final round to beat Ryan Sheriff by 2 strokes. Unfortunately for everyone, though, the battle for first was almost over as fast as it had started, as Chris O'Zollins held a 9-stroke lead after round 1. 16 strokes after round 2, and took the win by 25 strokes after 3 rounds. Just once more, Miss Mando bump, every divisional winner and a couple of second placers there as well, all friends of the pod. So, if you want to up your tournament game, we're happy to have you on, and then you can shoot well after that. Yeah. And over in the top amateur divisions, Taylor Quigley went wire to wire in FA1, leading after all 3 rounds en route to an 11-stroke win over Danielle McBride for her second win of the season. And this golf power couple, meanwhile, in MA1, Eric Terminisi erased a 3-stroke final round deficit to force a playoff, which he would win on the first hole for his first win of the season. And just a little color commentary before I throw to you, Sean, for some thoughts. Just fantastic for me seeing Taylor and Eric improve at the rate that they have and blossom into the players that they are right now. I started playing, I was going to say I started playing around the same time as them. I don't know if that's quite true, but they were playing regularly at Bronte around the time that I first started playing. And I've watched their trajectory just go, like the curve upwards has just gone off of the charts. And every time I see one of them taking down a tournament or podiuming, it just warms the cockles of my heart saying my Brownie family do well. So congrats to you two as well. Sean, over to you. Do you have any thoughts you'd like to add on the tournament?
This is definitely not the first time we've seen Taylor and Eric's name at the top of the leaderboards and mentioned on the show, and I'm sure it will not be the last this year. No aces at Wolf Tracks on their difficult 22-hole layout for the event. Not that surprising. That is a tough track. But really, simply surviving the event was basically like an ace in itself. The weather, especially in round 2, got especially hostile. It was cold rain, and I think there might have been a snowflake or two, and there's wind. Like it was apparently just miserable. And so kudos to all of those who stuck it out. There was only one division that wasn't a bit of a blowout, and that was over in MA2, where Bryce Farley held off Matthew Ferris to win by 1 stroke. Love to see these close battles. The Muskoka Open, it was not the place to see close battles in most of the divisions.
Just one more thing, Sean, before I throw over to you for our next tournament recap. I do want to give a shout out to my friend, the newly married actually as well, James Atkinson. Maybe a little bit of, people talk about like getting some dad strength. Maybe there's a little bit of marriage strength there. I don't know. But he played over an MPO, which is not his regular division. He's typically an MA1 player. But again, talk about meteoric rise. That guy has also been playing out of his mind, especially over the last year or so. But shot a very respectable 958 tournament average to finish just 1 spot out of the cash. So pretty incredible showing from James too, and just wanted to shout that out. Unless you have anything else, I'm happy to throw back to you for our next tournament recap.
Our next event takes us to the always amazing Haute Goat Disc Golf Course in Port Hope, Ontario for the Spring Thing Volume 2 presented by Queer Disc Golf. This is a charity event which featured one round of sanctioned singles play followed by a fun random draw doubles round on the Ace Place course in the afternoon. I was talking to Andy, and they haven't finalized the total amount raised, but it seems to be in the ballpark of like $4,000. That is amazing. This tournament is, as always, unique as it uses the ratings-based divisions instead of traditional gender and age-based. They use the colors, and so our winners were in blue, which is the highest level. Mike Ishtenko beat Isaiah Masek Kelly by 4 strokes. In white, Michael Wilson beat Dean Cowan by 1 stroke. Over in red, Owen Masterson beat Jason Baston in a playoff. In green, Jared Ashton beat Dan Paul by 5 strokes. And in purple, Jacob Guo beat William Ellis by 5 strokes. And one special shout out to Karen Mack. Karen Mack nailed her very first ace, got it on the pink course, hole 9, took home the $400 ace pot. Well done, Karen. Absolutely love to see aces out there.
What a great time to hit your first ace for a $400 ace pot. Wow.
Always
That's
get
awesome.
the ace pot. Always get the ace pot.
Always.
And even if you don't, it's community building. There's no ace pot if nobody buys into it, even if you don't win it. So let's go. Our next event was one that I played in this past weekend. It's been a tradition for the first weekend of May for years now. The Spring Fling at Christie Lake, a course that placed number 3 in the Miss Mando course vote last summer for very good reason. This year, the event was once again a provincial qualifying event and saw amazing 179 players across 21 divisions looking for a podium finish and book their ticket to provincials this October in Guelph. It was a tight battle after round 1 in the FPO division, with perennial favorite Colleen McInnes shooting -1 to hold a 1-stroke lead over Alex Paletto and Rebecca Dawn. Round 2 saw Rebecca and Alex struggle a little bit, both shooting a 909 rated a +6, while Colleen was able to shoot a fantastic 963 rated -3. And she pulled away from the field, took the win by a mere 10 strokes. Her second win of the season and 52nd of her career. MPO managed to have an even tighter battle after round 1, with Cam Zanini, James Duong, and Ezra Lockington all tied for first and 3 strokes clear of the field after 1,002 rated -10 rounds. That's amazing. Round 2 saw Ezra unfortunately struggle a little bit and fall back into 5th place, but Cam and James had an epic back and forth duel that saw 6 lead changes through 26 holes, and both players back in a tie with 1 hole to play, the tough new par 5 hole H. Now, hole H starts with an elevated tee pad up near the tee pad of hole 11, if you know the Christie Lake layout. You throw in downhill, slightly to the left, through some trees, past some picnic tables and garbage cans. Then you got to get across the river, the little creek, OB, through a gap, land there, and then go across the parking lot and the road to land on an island green. It was so much fun and so difficult. Fantastic hole. James would take an unfortunately ill-timed bogey, while Cam was able to get the birdie and take the win by 2 strokes, the 29th win of his career. Over in MP40, there was an epic 2-player battle for the win between Greg Rutenberg and Chris Azalins, as always. shooting scores that would have had them finish first and third in the MPO division. Greg held a one-stroke lead after round one after a 10:08 rated -11, but was able to one-up himself in round two, shooting a 10:18 -12 to finish at -23, one stroke ahead of the MPO winning score, and 2 strokes ahead of Oz in second, who was 14 strokes ahead of third place. It was not really that close after that. Over in the top amateur divisions, Stephanie Hall pulls off a come-from-behind win in FA1, taking it down by 4 strokes over Sarah Biro in second, with Danielle McBride in third. In MA1, Ben Krause goes wire to wire, averaging 978 over 2 rounds to win by 1 stroke over Nick Sorg, with Corey Hunter rounding out the podium in third. Galen, let's throw it over you for some thoughts.
Just sadness that I wasn't able to play this year. I was otherwise disposed this weekend, so I couldn't participate. And I knew early on, so I didn't even bother registering. But those new holes, especially that hole H, I've heard a few of them described to me at different times over the past couple of days, and oh my goodness, it sounds like they really outdid themselves. I think you said it was Chris that had designed the extra holes this year. Probably usually does, for all I know. I just usually assume if anything happens in Ontario related to disc golf, it was Chris, so probably a safe bet. But I've heard that the new holes were, the additional holes were fantastic, so I'm not surprised to hear that, but I am happy to hear it. Love seeing all the friends of the pod all over the leaderboard. I mean, we got Chris, we got Colleen, Alex, Rebecca, Chris O'Zolins. We were maybe saying we should have Double G on to have a little chat at some point in the future, so current, perhaps future friends of the pod, if he responds to our message, if we reach out to him. And, you know, I just love Christie Lake, man. Anytime I get a chance to get out there and play, I'm very excited about it. This is a tournament where there are so many different statistics there. So many different players there. It's even hard for me to like pull a neat statistic or like a cool thing in a division. I feel like with 180 players, it's like if I was going to start to pick out things I wanted to touch on as somebody that wasn't able to attend the event, I would probably be here for 15 minutes pulling out names that I was happy to see perform well or interesting stats about holes. So I'll just leave it at, I was sad not to play the spring flings. I always love it, but I was at a bachelor party and had a blast. So I'm not complaining at all. But yeah, what a fantastic course. And this event is always a can't miss on the disc golf calendar. So love it, love it, love it.
No aces this time around, but there was still so much exciting action out on that 27-hole course. There were 4 divisions that were won by 1 stroke. MA1 by Ben Krause, that we mentioned earlier. Over in MA40, Adam Shepherdley, he took it down. MA2 went to a playoff, and Sandy Nottingham squeaked it out over Jared Calling. And over in MA3, Alexander Crouch took that one down too. We're going to go next to Pro Tour reviews.
And the first PDGA Major of the Year took us to Stockton, California, home of the OTB Open, which hosted this year's, the 2025 edition of the Champions Cup. In FPO, Big Money Missy lived up to the nickname, shooting an amazing 10-12 rated tournament, not round, tournament over 4 rounds to win the second major title of her career, beating Kristen Lett by 2 strokes, with Paige Pierce just 3 strokes back in third place. Silva Saarinen started hot, taking the lead in round 1 and holding it through round 2, but unfortunately by the end of round 3, she was 7 strokes off the lead and out of competition for the title. Over at MPO, it was a wild opening 3 rounds with 3 different leaders after each round and 5 different players getting to -20 at one point before taking bogeys and falling back. The final round saw Sullivan Tipton starting with a 1-stroke lead, but he was only able to collect 3 birdies on the day and would fall into a tie for 5th place. Meanwhile, Isaac Robinson, the champ, was only 1 stroke back of the lead and was able to shoot a bogey-free 1052 rated -7 to take the win by 1 stroke over Anthony Barella, with Andrew Marweed in third. What a weekend of disc golf, my friend. Sean, over to you for some thoughts.
This was a super fun event to watch. First, it was cool seeing names like Andrew Miranda and Marweed, popping up onto the lead card. Jesse Niemanen had a great round. It's nice that it's not just, the boring Gannon Burr show. That was great to see. Paul Macbeth, I mean, he went full on McBeast mode on day one, shooting a minus 14. And then I think he didn't show up for the rest of the tournament. Like, was he there? Was he just taking penalty strokes? I don't know. Cause he finished the tournament at minus 15. Like, he only shot one stroke better over the next 3 rounds compared to how he shot the first. This was absolutely brutal for him. I don't know what was going on. People were like, it's his time. He's going to catch Kenny's 18 majors title. No, he did not. He did not even come close.
Well, at different points in the weekend, I'm like, oh my goodness, we're seeing Paul Macbeth, we're seeing Paige Pierce. What year is it?
Let's go. I love that.
I do. Me too.
Love to see. It was a great scene. She always does so well at this course. She won it 3 years in a row. And I was not at all surprised to see her up on the lead card. She had an amazing throw in on, I don't remember which hole it was, but I think it was on the final day. It was like 180 foot throw in.
Almost 200 foot. Yeah.
It's beauty. So good. So good. Another good throw in was, Jake Mon on 18. He, eagled 18, I think, by throwing it in. It looked like 250, something like that. It was just a smash. It was a sick way to end his event. Loved seeing Andrew Marweed hanging with the big dogs all tournament long. He's not known for, the big arm. Respectable, of course. But he's obviously known for his putting, that the guy does not miss. And this was kind of supposed to be a bit of a longer course, but that maybe he wouldn't naturally thrive on, but he definitely did this weekend. Next one of note was, not a good one. Goose Gossage, Aaron Gossage, what is going on? He was number 1 in shots gained tee to green, an amazing 19.85 strokes over the field. And then when he got to the green, his game completely fell apart. He was dead last in shots lost to putting with a minus 16.94. It's basically MPO Henna Blomroos at this point, when she is unfortunately at her worst. I remember preseason, some people, including maybe me, were saying that he had this new putt. He was down in New Zealand and it was looking good, and that maybe this is his year. But I don't know if he's kept it up or he's reverted back to his old one, but it's just not working. It seems to be like, I don't know if you remember that event, I forget which one it was, where Adam Hammies basically took him to a playoff and totally big putted him, and he laid a goose egg, and missed short. He doesn't seem to have been the same since, so maybe he can talk to Cupcake and they can work on their sort of putting issues together. Cause, when you're number 1 in the field in strokes gained tee to green and then dead, you hate to see it. It's whatever he's doing, it ain't working. So hopefully he work on something else. And lastly, we want to give a shout out, of course, to the 3 Canadians, all friends of the show, who are out there taking it all in. Gabby Lee from BC. Unfortunately, she didn't make the cut in round 4 and finished in 56th place. Sophia Dunica finished round 1 in 19th place and then fought her way up to 14th place by the end of it, cashed. And then, of course, Chantel Badinsky came out of the gate charging, landing in 6th place after rounds 1 and 2. She slid a little bit towards the end, finishing a very strong 15th place. Also cashing, though, and looking great out there. Nice to see her on coverage as well. This was a super, super fun event, and one that was, this year, MPO is putting on a bit of a show. We're getting a little more variety. Last year it was kind of boring because it was the boring Gannon show, but it's not been as much this year, and I'm here for it. I'm loving it. How do we do in our picks, Galen?
Well, it depends on which set of picks we use for me, whether it's the picks that I chose when I was asked in the group chat or the picks that were chosen for me. But we'll start with you and Robbie first. Robbie had Holland and Calvin, very respectable. He's always going to take Holland when you give him the chance, and Calvin, I think, is a great pick for the course. Holland in 5th and Calvin in 8th. Tie for 8, so that averages out to 6.5. Sean, you had Silva Saarinen and Ricky Wysocki himself, finishing in 4th and 5th, respectively, to average 4.5. The players that I actually picked were Kristen Lett and Gannon Burr. I know, very creative of me to take the 2 highest rated players in the field and arguably the best, not really that arguable, but the best players in the world. Kristen, as we already discussed, finished in 2nd, Gannon in 4th to average in 3rd. Or if we take the picks that were given to me, Joey Tamale, he's got this little podcast he's trying to start up. I wish him well. Crushed Pepper. I hope that they're able to break into the podcasting, universe. That like bigger podcasts like us, though, have to shout them out just so they get that little boost. Joey Tamale was my other pick and did not play, so I got a great. I don't know if DNF did not play is different from DNF, but I don't get anything out of that. And Angelica Sanchez was also chosen for me and finished in 55th. So I guess my average is like infinity. It's like if you just divide did not play by 55, it's the same as dividing by 0. But yeah, it was like all of our players were legitimately in it. I thought that was, as far as picks are concerned, pretty interesting and pretty tight. So
one last thing, Calvin, his hunt for a major continues. It will be nice if Calvin decides to actually play as good as he does on the final rounds as he does in the rest of a major tournament. He came into the final round in 32nd place, having gone up 23 spots to get there. And then in the final round, shoots a scorching -12, which, were it not for Paul Macbeth's round 1 and only good round of the tournament, it probably would have been a course record. But he then moves up an additional 24 spots to finish in 12th place, something like that, 8th place, tied for 8th place. It's a 4-round event. You got to actually play more than just the final round. That's a tip from Sean. Maybe he can take that and use that to actually get his first win.
And it's funny because in a lot of ways, if you ask me who I would name as a consistent disc golfer in MPO, he's probably the first name I would come up with, but not round to round. It's consistent finishes. He's always in and around the action, but round to round, it's anybody's guess. It's he's just a weird player, man. I love him so much, and I never know what to make of his performances. But he's one of those players. I think he's maybe the epitome of a player where if he ever gets it all together every round consistently, look the hell out.
It was also really interesting that Holland Handley's name was not in the conversation basically the whole weekend. After round 1, she was tied for 13th. After round 2, she squeaked up to 11th. And eventually she finished a very respectable 5th place, but 12 strokes off of first. Wasn't really expecting that. It was odd. But, can't podium every event, I guess, unless you're Kristen.
Yeah, I guess not. Just Kristen. And now for a Pro Tour preview. May 16th to 18th, we'll see the return of the Cascade Challenge, which was Washington's first ever DGPT event, debuting as a Silver Series, then shifting to a Q Series qualifier for 2024. And this year, it is back at Shelton Springs as a standard elite event. Last year, neither MPO or FPO were very close, with Nicholas Antala putting together a complete performance and leading wire to wire. He was up 4 strokes after the first round. 7 strokes after the second, and 10 after the final round to finish at -28 with a scorching 1062 event average. Chandler Kramer and Ezra Robinson rounded out the podium in MPO last year. Over in FPO, it was Deanne Carey who ran away with it. She was actually all the way back in 6th after a respectable but not very notable 927 rated +2 first round that left her 6 strokes off of the lead. But in the next round, she went off shooting a 1033 rated, -10, a top 50 rated FPO round ever, which was 8 strokes clear of the next closest round 2 score and rocketed her into first place. Round 3, she kept her foot on the gas, shot a -4, and finished at -12, 7 strokes clear of Raven Klein in second, and 8 clear of Cap Murch in first. A year earlier, back in 2023, when this was a Silver Series, things were quite a bit closer. Ricky Wysocki took the 3-stroke win over Matt Bell and Evan Scott. There were a couple of other players within 4 or 5 strokes as well, sniffing around the lead. And Kat Murch also won by 3 over Sayananda and led Holland Hanley, Maria Oliva, and Lisa Fakis, who all tied for 3rd by 7. So I'm excited to see what's in store this year. Is a little bit more of the 2023 Silver Series style with a close, hard-fought battle. A couple of players pull ahead and just run away with it. I'm excited to see what's in store. So with that, why don't we get over to some picks? And Sean, we will go to you first for your picks for the Cascade Challenge.
I am going to avoid the chalk picks this week. I'm not going to do what you did last week and just like no brainer. No, I'm going to go little brainer. I'll take Anthony Barella. I think he's coming off a great performance out at Champions Cup, and I like him for Cascade. Over in FPO. Let's see here. Kristen has headed home. Wouldn't pick her anyway. Too chalk. Let's go. Let's see. It's not a major, so we can't take Missy. I'll go Cat Murch. I'll do Cat Murch for this one.
Snatched the pick right out from under me. Those 2023 and 2024 performances, the double podium, and I super dig that pick. I cannot even remotely fault you for it. I was also looking to avoid going chalk on this, so maybe we'll give a little bit of flexibility to our boy Robbie here to pick who he likes from pretty much the field. I am not going to take his favorite, Holland Hanley, so he's going to be happy about that. I'm going to go, I will go with the number 2 player as far as ratings are concerned on both sides, though. I do really like where Ricky's game is at. It's been some peaks and valleys, but I think he's got an opportunity to build off of a pretty strong performance. He's been all around it. He's got a lot of 2s and 4s and 5s. And so I like him to find his form here on the podium in 2023. So Ricky, lock it in MPO. And I'm going to take, again, the second highest rated player. I feel like I like her game for this course. I'm going to take Owen Scoggins, the Own Dog in FPO. And Sean, I know that Robbie was kind enough to DM just you with his picks for this week. So please. Over to you.
Absolutely. He made some bold and solid predictions for the Cascade Challenge. Over in MPO, he has made the decision to go with lowest rated in the division player, Matthew Lopez out of Woodinville, Washington, local pro rated 935. It's a solid choice. We'll see how he does.
Just very quickly, I think that maybe you might have gotten your DMs mixed up there, because he messaged me and said that he wanted to go with Tyler the Missile Bissell, which is exactly what this gentleman's PDGA page says. It's not, I'm not just calling him the Missile because I know his rep. I'm calling him the Missile because that's what the PDGA says he is. A 963 rated local pro from Kennewick, Washington. That's what Robbie sent me for his pick, but maybe it was Matthew Lopez. I don't.
My understanding of who exactly he wanted may be outdated. And so yes, we're going to go with Tyler the Missile Bissell out of Kennewick, Washington, 963 rated, absolutely solid pick by Robbie. And over in FPO, let me just yes, we have his pick, Janelle freaking Cool. That is her name. Her last name spelled Kohl, Cole, with freaking as her middle name in the PDGA, rated a whopping 906 out of Martin, Georgia. He is extremely confident. He says, Sean, I am very confident that I'm betting everything I have on Janelle freaking Cole to win FPO at the Cascade Challenge. And who am I to argue? It's a solid pick on a solid player, and I absolutely love that for him.
Hey, Janelle freaking Cole and the Missile. How do you argue with those picks? I got nothing to say except that Robbie, well chosen. I hope that your bankroll rides well as well, my friend.
Absolutely solid picks to end an absolutely solid episode. Thank you so much for Hanna Huynh, always winning on Instagram, for joining us here on the show for a wonderful interview. It was an absolute pleasure chatting with her. And so with that, we're going to sign off on behalf of my friend and co-host, Galen Naidu-Harris. We're happy Robbie is not joining us here this week. I am Sean Galbraith, and we will see you out on the course.